Renegade Immortal Episode 61. Wang Lin, known as the Ghost Spirit, had a wife who was nearing the end of her life, with only a year left. Unexpectedly, he felt the urge to return to Zhao Bo. Before his departure, he made a point of visiting Donhua's family. As everyone knew, the Ghost Spirit's birthplace was Wang Family Village, located in Zhao Bo. However, Wang Lin held a sense of indifference toward his birthplace. This stemmed from the Donghua Gardens massacre of the entire Wang family, during which no one from Zhao Bo intervened. Consequently, Wang Lin felt little attachment to Huashen. As Wang Lin journeyed into the snowy mountains, a sudden flash of light caught his eye. Unfazed, he effortlessly flicked his hand, unleashing his life and death intent. The intent swiftly disintegrated the flying swords aimed at him. The young man controlling the flying swords was stunned into silence. Behind him, on an ice bed, lay a frail and dying white-haired old man, deep in meditation with closed eyes. Moments later, the young man regained his composure, his fists clenched in a mixture of grief and fury. "You destroyed our home and chased us here. Do you truly intend to kill us all?" he roared. "If you kill us today, know that one day someone will come to destroy your snow region country." Wang Lin paid him no heed, his gaze fixed solely on the old man. The young man instinctively positioned himself between Wang Lin and his master. A heavy silence fell before the young man abruptly dropped to his knees. "Please, spare my master," he pleaded. "Kill me instead. I am the guard leader of the Waterwood sect. Capturing me would surely bring you merit. Just let my master go, and I will willingly follow you," he begged. "Otherwise, you will only get a corpse." Wang Lin's expression remained neutral as he observed the scene before him, but a flicker of emotion stirred within his heart. "Why would you trade your life for your master's?" he inquired softly. "Had it not been for me, my master would have long escaped," the young man confessed. "He is in this state solely because of his efforts to save me." At that moment, the old man on the ice bed slowly opened his eyes. "Hua-er," he rasped, "rise. This man is not from the Blood Jade Palace." Upon hearing this, the young man straightened up, a glimmer of hope flickering across his face. Wang Lin cupped his hands respectfully. "This junior offers his greetings to senior of the Waterwood sect," he said. With a mere glance, Wang Lin's life and death intent had revealed the old man's proximity to death. The old man was seized by a fit of coughing before he turned his gaze to Wang Lin. "Young friend," he said, his voice strained, "I am grievously injured and cannot offer you a proper greeting. Please forgive my lack of decorum. May I inquire as to the purpose of your visit?" Wang Lin released a soft sigh. "Senior, the Blood Jade Palace has discovered your sanctuary," he revealed. "For your safety, it is imperative that you leave immediately. This bottle of pills can alleviate the pain of your scattered cultivation. The world is vast. Perhaps other opportunities to restore your cultivation await you." With those words, he produced a bottle of pills and offered it to the old man. A faint smile graced the old man's lips as he declined. "Young friend, had I desired to leave, I would have done so long ago," he stated. "Even now, I possess the means to escape, even if it hastens my demise. But do you know why I have remained here?" Wang Lin shook his head, signaling his lack of understanding. "This place is my home," the old man continued. "I was born here, and it is here that I will die." His voice was soft yet unwavering, imbued with an air of resolute determination. Respecting the old man's decision, Wang Lin chose not to press further. He cupped his hands in farewell and turned to depart. Having spent over 3 decades within the Four Sects Alliance, he had personally witnessed the invasion of the Snow Region country. While he couldn't alter the course of events, he could offer assistance within his means. The old man had made his choice, and Wang Lin would not impose his will. As Wang Lin made his exit, the old man's voice rang out once more. "Young friend," he called out, "allow me to present you with a treasure in exchange for the karma of the medicine." With a graceful wave of his embroidered robe, a fan adorned with only 2 feathers materialized from his sleeve. The fan drifted towards Wang Lin, who caught it with a sudden seriousness etched upon his face. This was no ordinary artifact. It was the magical tool once wielded by Hong Dai's senior sister. He vividly recalled that after the woman's demise, this very item fell into the hands of one of the nascent soul cultivators responsible for annihilating the remnants of the Waterwood sect. A wave of realization washed over Wang Lin. This old man was none other than Hua Shen, a name that once commanded respect and fear throughout the Four-Sects Alliance, a name synonymous with the destruction of the Waterwood sect. Without another word, Wang Lin departed, a maelstrom of emotions swirling within him. The old man and the young man soon emerged from the icy grip of the mountains, arriving at the very edge of the snow region country. With a resounding palm strike, the old man shattered the protective barrier that separated them from the outside world. He then poured out half of the pills gifted to him by Wang Lin and pressed them into the young man's hand. "Go," he urged, his eyes brimming with love and concern. "You must walk the path ahead alone. Master can protect you no longer." The young man's eyes welled with a mixture of sadness and resistance. He began to speak, but the old man silenced him with a wave of his hand, gently propelling him beyond the barrier. As if healing a wound, the barrier seamlessly reformed. The young man gazed at his master, his legs giving way as he crashed to his knees with a resounding thud. "Master!" he cried out, his voice cracking with despair, his eyes stained crimson with unshed tears. A hearty laugh escaped the old man's lips in response. In one swift movement, he consumed the remaining pills, his aura surging back to its former glory, burning bright like a rekindled flame. Then he was gone, his sights set on a single destination, the heart of the snow region country, the hallowed halls of the Ice and Snow Divine Hall. He had made his peace. If death awaited him, then he would meet it head-on his own terms, defending the land of his birth. Past glories were nothing more than fleeting memories now. Like a phoenix reborn from ashes, even with singed wings, he would fight to soar once more. As the young man watched his master's receding figure, a torrent of memories flooded his mind. After what felt like an eternity, he bowed deeply and repeatedly in the direction his master had taken, a silent vow escaping his lips. "I, Chen Huan, swear to bring about the downfall of the snow region country in this lifetime." Fueled by a desire for vengeance and armed with the last vestiges of his life force, the nascent soul cultivator of the Waterwood sect transformed into a moth drawn to a flame, erupting in a final, defiant blaze upon the imposing statue of the Ice and Snow Divine Hall. His sacrifice left an indelible mark, a crimson stain forever etched upon the cold, pristine facade, a testament to his unwavering spirit. 4 years slipped through the hourglass of time. Though Wang Lin had achieved mastery over the snow region country's ice sculpture puppetry technique, his mind remained fixated on unraveling the profound intricacies of life and death. A nagging feeling lingered, a sense of incompleteness, as if a veil obscured his true vision. He came to a sobering realization. He was on the cusp of a breakthrough, but it would require an epiphany, a moment of clarity, to shatter the barrier that held him back. With only a single year remaining of his self-imposed 10-year exile, Wang Lin made a decision. He released the tribulation transcender cultivator he had imprisoned within the snow tower, wiping away select memories before sending him on his way. Wang Lin's destination? The state of Zhao, the place he once called home. The poignant tale of the Waterwood sect master and disciple had stirred something deep within him, reawakening a long-forgotten warmth, a yearning for belonging. Everyone deserved a place to call home, a sanctuary, and Wang Lin was no exception. The state of Zhao, in its own way, represented that for him. Meanwhile, across the vast expanse of the Sea of Cultivation, in the distant state of Chu, a woman awaited his return. Before embarking on his journey back to Zhao, Wang Lin made a detour to a familiar town in a neighboring country, the town where Donghua had made his life. True to form, Donghua had established another blacksmith shop, his life filled with the joys of family. His wife was now expecting their child, a testament to their love and happiness. A wave of relief washed over Wang Lin as he witnessed their contentment. Unbeknownst to Donghua, his beloved Uncle Wang had paid him a visit, a silent guardian watching over his newfound happiness. Before departing, Wang Lin discreetly channeled a surge of spiritual energy into Donghua's wife, ensuring the well-being of both mother and child. Sadly, Donghua remained oblivious to Wang Lin's presence. Until his dying breath, his greatest regret would not be little Niu's absence at his bedside, but the fact that he never had the chance to reunite with his cherished Uncle Wang. One day, as Wang Lin was flying, the sky suddenly darkened, and heavy rain poured down. It was a torrential downpour, the likes of which he hadn't seen in a long time. It reminded him of the time he and Zhang Hu had taken shelter from the rain in the Hengyou sect. Deciding to stop flying, Wang Lin gathered the surrounding leaves into an umbrella with a wave of his hand. Holding the makeshift umbrella, he strolled through the unfamiliar forest, enjoying the unique charm of the heavy rain. He soon came across an old, dilapidated temple with no Buddha statue inside. Temples were a rare sight for Wang Lin, so curiosity led him inside. After taking a closer look, he stood by the temple gate, quietly admiring the rainy night outside and savoring the ambience. His moment of peace was interrupted by the arrival of several burly men in coarse clothing, walking briskly towards the temple. "As soon as we said it would rain, it rained," they grumbled as they entered. The 5 of them proceeded to build a bonfire inside the temple and began eating and chatting loudly. Their eyes, however, would occasionally glance at Wang Lin. He shook his head slightly with a sigh. The arrival of these 5 mortals had shattered the tranquility of the rainy night, replacing the beautiful atmosphere with a dull and tasteless one. Just as Wang Lin was about to leave, his expression changed. His gaze fell on the forest in the distance, where a long-haired, burly man in thin clothing was slowly walking towards them. What was unexpected was that the man entered the temple as if he hadn't even noticed the downpour. Wang Lin was startled, and his expression turned serious. "Shrinking the ground to an inch," he thought to himself. The man smiled gently and said, "Never thought I'd meet someone from the world of cultivators in this small, humble temple." He added, "Moji is my humble name. May I ask for your esteemed name?" Wang Lin was secretly wary. Although this man seemed to have no spiritual power in him, he could tell his identity at a glance. He was definitely not an ordinary person. However, Wang Lin still politely cupped his hand and replied, "I'm just a man of the mountains. I don't have a formal name. Just call me Dan Yu." Hearing this, Moji looked at Wang Lin with great interest and said, "Brother Dan Yu, why don't you have a seat? Wouldn't it be wonderful for the 2 of us to discuss the Tao on this rainy night?" Wang Lin smiled and nodded, taking out a wine gourd. After the upheaval in the 4-sex alliance, his stock of fruit wine was running low. Seeing the wine gourd, Moji laughed heartily and said, "If I'm not mistaken, Brother Dan Yu, you must have reached the realm where intent transforms into the soul, a step away from ascending to the clouds, haven't you?" Hearing this, Wang Lin's heart became even more wary. But outwardly, he remained calm as usual, just chuckling and avoiding the topic. By the bonfire, one of the men laughed loudly. "What gibberish are you 2 talking about? We didn't understand a word. Intent transforming into the soul, ascending to the clouds, are you 2 crazy?" Moji smiled faintly and replied, "Your words are quite interesting. If not for madness, how can one comprehend the way of heaven? If not for madness, who would seek immortality? As the saying goes, heaven will give to those who seek. That's the principle." As soon as he finished speaking, the man by the fire cursed, "You really are crazy." Moji ignored him and turned to look at Wang Lin. "Brother Dan Yu, did you understand?" he asked. Wang Lin looked at him with an unreadable expression, neither agreeing nor disagreeing. "Your words are profound, but I am slow-witted. I believe that instead of using the word madness, poetry is a better fit," Wang Lin replied. Moji's eyes lit up. "Well said. If we, cultivators, lose our yearning, we can never achieve enlightenment. The way of heaven favors those who are driven." Wang Lin took another sip of the fruit wine, smiling without saying a word. A moment of silence later, Moji's eyes suddenly revealed a trace of confusion. Their eyes met, and Wang Lin's heart skipped a beat. His right hand quietly rested on the storage bag at his waist. After a long while, the confusion in Moji's eyes gradually dissipated. "What were we talking about just now?" he asked. Wang Lin frowned, staring at him in silence. Seeing Wang Lin's puzzled expression, Moji waved his hand dismissively. "Never mind, I forget. Moji is my name, and what do I call you?" Once again, Wang Lin told him his alias, Dan Yu. Moji nodded, then looked outside. The beauty of a rainy night lies in its profound ambience, everlasting and full of life. Flowers and trees absorb the moisture, and the previous sense of death quietly disappears. This is the beauty of a rainy night, the taste of life. After a moment of contemplation, Wang Lin finally asked the question that had been troubling him for a long time. What is life? Moji smiled faintly and pointed at the bonfire. This fire is life. Confused, Wang Lin asked, Why? Moji spoke slowly. Although I don't know the true meaning of life, I often hear mortals talk about making a fire. Perhaps this fire is life. As they were talking, the men by the bonfire all looked at them strangely. In their eyes, Moji and Wang Lin were two lunatics, talking nonsense. However, Wang Lin gradually gained some insight from Moji's words. But at the same time, he still didn't seem to fully understand. After a moment of silence, he asked again, Then what is death? Just as Moji was about to answer, his eyes suddenly became confused again. What were we talking about? Before Wang Lin could answer, one of the men interrupted. He was asking you what death is, and his name is Donghua. Moji turned to Wang Lin and said, Ever since I began to comprehend the way of heaven, my memory has been fading. Please forgive me, Brother Donghua. Wang Lin hesitated for a moment. Brother Mo, what kind of intent are you comprehending? Although directly asking about someone else's intent was considered taboo, Moji didn't mind, and frankly replied, I am comprehending the intent of impermanence. Death is the cessation of existence. When a person ceases to exist, they are dead. When the heart ceases to exist, it forgets. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Lin felt as if he had been struck by lightning. The fog between life and death seemed to have cleared a lot. Moji continued to look around in confusion, his right hand casually pointing to a puddle outside the temple. Today the rain falls, he murmured, and the water in this puddle is full of life. But when the rain stops, the water in this puddle will lose its life and become stagnant. This is the manifestation of death. Then he pointed to the men by the bonfire. Today they can be happy or angry, sorrowful or joyful. This is life. But when they lose their happiness, anger, sorrow, and joy, falling into the cycle of reincarnation, that is death. He suddenly stood up and pointed at the sky. This rain falls from the sky and falls to the earth, ceasing to exist. This process is like a person's life. I gaze at the water, not just observing the sky, not just examining the earth, and not just focusing on myself. I am experiencing the life of this rain. This is the cycle of life and death. Wang Lin was deeply moved by these words. He immediately stood up and bowed deeply to Moji. Moji smiled and left. A moment later, his faint voice came. Brother Donghua, if you have gained enlightenment, then you understand. If you haven't, then you don't. Take care. Wang Lin stared at the rain. After a long while, a bitter smile appeared on his face. Wang Lin, did he truly understand the true meaning of life and death that Moji spoke of? His journey to becoming a deity continues. Please like and subscribe. Let's continue the conversation in the next episode.